Before we jump right into it, and I tell you what we did, I want to see if you're able to pick up on it yourselves. Alright, so we're just kind of walking around, giving you guys some sights to see if you notice anything different. We'll just come out onto the deck here, maybe walk on up to the upper tier up here. Alright, so here we are. Anything different? Huh. It's funny, it's so obvious to me, but I mean, it's like, obviously not everyone knows my property. Like, I know my property, so you might not even be able to tell on camera. I will say, though, we got some pretty nice views up here, don't we? I know I've said this a million times by now, but I don't necessarily have a upload schedule here on YouTube. For a while, I've been trying to stick with every Monday and every Friday for the most part. You'll notice that I didn't post last Friday or this Monday. And again, like, I'm not gonna push myself to I have to upload on those days if I don't want to or I don't have content. I'm not gonna force it. But part of the reason I wanted to make this video is because while there's not a lot of content going out on social media, there's a lot of calling life content is crazy. There's a lot of content going on behind the scenes, mainly stuff around the property. I wanted to make this video to sort of, I don't know, keep you guys up to date with everything, as well as just document. I've been documenting the process since we moved onto this property. I think it's always cool to compare, like, oh, we first moved in, and then, you know, 5-10 years from now, see the difference and see all the steps in between. I'd say the biggest change is we got a whole bunch of trees removed around the property. And yes, I can see the comments now. Garrett, you killed all these healthy trees. Okay, these aren't ours, by the way. This is the neighbor's yard. They also got rid of a bunch of trees. Depending on where you live, you may or may not be familiar with fire laws and fire insurance, especially in California. We were running into some insurance issues because we had too many trees too close together on our property, too close to our house. And I do love trees. I love nature. I'm turning into a hippie. Can you see the difference down here? This is we're at one of the second tier where the dog run is. And this is just, it's like we have an extra acre of land. All of this was just this crazy dense forest. You can see there's a foot of pine needles built up on the ground here. None of this got any sun whatsoever. You can see all the stumps around of trees that they removed. You know, it's sad that we had to get rid of trees, but it's kind of is bittersweet the right word for that? It's opened up all of this usable land, which the dogs have been loving. They'll just frolic around the yard now. But mainly this is usable now. And we have plans. We want to do like terraced garden beds. Now that this gets actual sun, things can grow here. We have plans to do like an enclosed either chicken coop or duck. Is it called a duck coop? Duck house? Duck area? There's a lot that we can do here that we couldn't have done previously because it was just covered in pine needles, shade, and unusable. Another plus side of it, which is a little bit on the more selfish side, but we got some really cool views that I didn't know that we had. For example, there were some big trees there blocking that view. There were some big trees there blocking that view. We also have a whole bunch of wood now. We kept everything. Pine isn't optimal to burn. We've been burning it. We just clean our chimney, but we got a lot of pine now. I want to see if I can like make skate rails out of it or something. But anyway, we learned that there's supposed to be 30 feet in between trees. That's like the code up here or whatever it's called. That's what makes the insurance companies happy. And like 30 feet is a lot. Our trees were like 2 feet apart from each other. It's just opened up some views that we never thought we'd have. I would say from the deck here is where it's really the most noticeable. Cause right there, see how we can see all the way back to the mountains back there? That was like just a row of trees there before. And we had, what would we call an insurance agent? We had someone from our insurance company come out to take pictures and see if everything was to code. And they said the way that everything was laid out is because we're at the top of a hill. If a fire came from the bottom, it would just rip up through everything straight into the house. And I love trees, but I also love my house. That's the biggest change. It was like a 4 or 5 man crew out here for 3 days, clearing everything out. That was super, I say disruptive, but in like a good way. It just like it made content a bit hard because it's just chainsaws all day. I've been slowly working on getting rid of some of these rocks, which is this pathway that I've been working on, kind of just beautifying everything, making this a somewhat better path up. I'm gonna make this little chill zone. I over-calculated how many rocks I'd need, so we have some extras that I gotta figure out where to put. And that's where the idea for this little pathway came about. So I've just been kind of, I don't know, we have enough land to put them somewhere. I've just been trying to get creative with it. So this pile will be gone soon. I gotta figure out what to do with these rocks. There's also about 4 of these giant piles of wood chips because everything that was small enough to fit in the chipper, they chipped up, obviously, and all signs are pointing to me getting a tractor now. Realistically, I should just rent one for a day, but that's no fun. So yeah, you can see we had a couple fire code violations and a whole bunch of wood chips now. And you may see here that we have some vinyl plank flooring because I finally took the leap and there we go. Finally took the leap and we started the flooring upstairs. Come on in here. Oh yeah, that's another thing that happened. So in addition to, you know, fun things and like life enhancements, there's also been some just like bummers. My plasma table exploded, essentially. There's 2 tables that you had to silicone together and that silicone seam failed. So as I was in the middle of the project, it just dumped that nasty, grimy rust water everywhere. And you can see I did my best to clean it up, but I'm still dealing with that. I had to disassemble everything, reseal the table. I was having some issues with the actual torch holder. Spent like 2 days troubleshooting that. Ran into a suspension issue on the 240, which I've since pinpointed, but I've been driving around and I should not have been driving around. So now I'm waiting for a bolt to come in before we can move this again. But we come on upstairs here. Those are the only 2 like bummers. Everything else has been fun. Up here is just, it's a mess. But you look past the mess and the flooring is starting to come out really, really, really nice. I had been holding off on starting it for a while just because I wanted, I don't know, like I've done flooring once for the garage in Big Bear. We converted it to a little game room for Airbnb, and that was my first time laying, it was super similar to this. That was my first time laying vinyl plank flooring, but this is a much bigger, it's like a 40 by 40 foot room. Wanted to make sure I was doing everything right, but it's coming out great so far. And then there's this, which will make sense later this week. And then again, some more off-camera stuff. I got my first commissioned fingerboard rail gig. Like I was sent some dimensions and I actually got to make, someone bought these for their custom park. So that was cool. My first commissioned, I guess we can call that my first commissioned fabrication job. Also just been putting in a ton of work on the fingerboard rails and trying out some new stuff. I'm prototyping some of these benches that I think are coming out really cool. I think I got 2 of those. We got these, cool new powder coat color. Again, just been like messing around, not documenting it, just sort of giving myself the freedom to explore and get creative with it all. I think it's just like a little overwhelming feeling because there's so many different things going on and none of them are done. It feels like there's just a bunch of loose ends everywhere. For example, like to get the chipper down here, because they had to go down there to cut that whole area, we had to move all of the skate ramps, and I'm gonna put them back, or try to. Oh. Oh. Yeah, I don't know about the other one. It's a whole lot easier to move with 4 people. We're getting there. Oh my God. It's coming up on that time that we gotta give this whole A-frame rail a little TLC. It's been sitting out here in the weather for a while, not to mention it was 2-year-old waterlogged wood to begin with from LA. There are a couple things that I want to do to make this thing skatable again. But again, that's just adding to the list of things to do. I'm realizing now there's no shot that I'm moving that myself, but I do kind of want to clean up all of these rails and whatnot. It's like I love the colors that we chose for the rails, but when they're all collected in a pile like this, it does look pretty crazy. I don't know where to put them. The red L rail and the blue rail right there are the attachments to the bump to bar. So once I drag the bump to bar back, maybe they just just like chill off to the side that way. But then all the other stuff, like the reverse rainbow rail, the big long 18-foot rail, the kinked one, like all those, when I skate them, I put them right here. So it does make sense to have them. Maybe I just like organize it a little, like clean it up. We have our powder coat booth that originally I was gonna store in the shop, but it can be outside. So like maybe this can just go right over here by the scaffolding, which is also an eyesore. I'm just gonna put these out of the way for now. I really do think it's all the colors that makes it look so crazy. I think we'll put the 18-footer first because that one's heavy. Yeah. That at least feels like a little bit neater. Right, like imagine all of this cleaned up. I just can't move that myself and I'm using it as a sawhorse to cut the flooring. Ladders can go back in there once the 240's done. Those rails go by that once that's over there. Our buckets of acid, I don't really know where those go. And then go through and sweep everything off. It'll make it, it's just like, there's a lot going on in case you haven't gathered that yet. And as I'm filming this, I'm realizing this whole video is just a bunch of yapping, but I just want to let you guys know that I'm not neglecting you, all right? I didn't forget about you. I've just been working on some real life stuff. I guess we can just call this like what, a little life update. Just kind of getting you guys up to date with everything going on, projects around the house, all that. Again, especially now with all of the, you know, all the pine needles everywhere, all the wood chip piles. I have my work cut out for me with raking and cleaning up and all that stuff, because getting rid of the trees was just step one for fire prevention. Obviously the pine needles are a huge fire hazard themselves. Those piles, they'll heat up in the summer, so I gotta disperse those somehow with the tractor. We're living quite the life up here, guys. I absolutely love it up here. There's a little life update for you. I do have some actual like content coming this week and next week, but figured I'd hit you with a little life update. So thank you for watching. Catch you next video. Peace out.